Hi. In this video, we are going to look at some of the ways that we can add some load to movements that we make in our yoga practice by adding some weight. I happen to have these 2-pound Pilates weights, but you don't need these. If you have a set of light dumbbells, anywhere between 1 to 3 pounds, then you might use the dumbbells. You could also, if you have no weights at home, use 2 water bottles, or maybe you have 2 cans of beans or coconut milk or something like that. Just a light thing that you can hold in your hand. Certainly cans work very well. Once you've got that gathered, we'll take the weights and bring one to each side, just off of the sides of the mat, roughly halfway down, and we'll start laying on our backs. Knees will be bent, feet flat on the floor. Taking a couple breaths just to land on your back, making any little shimmies or movements to feel comfortable here. Now, as we move through this class, we'll have options to make movements with the addition of the weights and also without them. Know that at any time you can always not use the weight. Certainly, just your body weight is already something that you're using. Taking a few more rounds of breath on your back just to allow things to start to feel settled. And once your body feels settled, let your arms come down by the sides. And from there, when your inhale comes, we're going to lift the arms up towards the ceiling and then drop them overhead. And then the exhale takes the arms back down by the sides. And we'll do this a couple times, following your rhythm of breath. Might be different than mine. And as the arms lift overhead and come back down, just feeling the movement out. How do your arms feel? How do your shoulders feel? How is your rib cage responding to the movement of the arms? And find another 1 or 2 rounds here where you think of really anchoring the rib cage down, especially the bottom part of your rib cage. And then from there, when you're ready, we're going to use an inhale. Take the arms straight up to vertical. And as you exhale, turn the palms to face in towards one another. The inhale is going to take the arms wide apart into a T. And the exhale, we bring the arms back up to vertical. And we'll do that a couple more times. Arms go wide, maybe feeling more of the back of your shoulders heavy. And then arms back up to vertical. Again, following your breath. Let's do another 2 movements here. And then the next time your arms come back up to vertical, we'll place them now down beside the hips with the palms facing down. With the inhale, we'll press with the feet to bridge the hips up. And then exhale, the bum comes all the way back down to the mat. We'll make this movement now a few times, bridging the hips up and down. And as you lift the hips away from the floor, think of following the direction of the knees with your sitting bones. And as the hips bridge up and down, let the shins move a little away from you as you come up to make room for your hips as you lift. Just finding this a few times, feeling it out again. Then we'll find a few more, and in these bridges, think of really keeping your rib cage down. Just the hips come up, meaning you might not lift as high, But with the rib cage anchored down towards the floor, you might also find that you can feel the back of your hips and maybe your thigh muscles a little bit more. And again, really thinking of the sit bones following the direction of the back of the knees. And we'll try one or so more. And then let your bum come all the way back down. Take a breath on the bottom, letting the hips settle, ribs heavy, shoulders wide. And then from there, finding those weights, the cans, the water bottles, whatever you've got. And then from there, when you're ready, we're going to use an inhale. Let the arms come up to vertical. And then as you exhale, let your toes face forward. And as we inhale, we're going to let the arms go up and overhead as we bridge the hips up. And then exhale, bum comes back down as the arms go vertical. This time, arms go wide side to side as you breathe in, hips come up. And exhale, bum comes down as the arms go vertical. Overhead, hips come up. Bum comes down, arms come up. Arms go wide. And back up. You've got the pattern now. Following your breath. Feeling the difference in how the movement feels with the addition of the weights. So where do you start to notice a little bit more sensation being created? Could you let the arms move fairly fluidly? Can you use the timing of your breath to time the movement of your body? Notice if you're rushing one part of the movement. Let's find a few more rounds here, over and wide. And remembering this idea of the tail, the sit bones, reaching towards the knees. Finding one more round with the arms overhead and then wide. And then letting the bum come back down, releasing the arms with the weights down by your sides. Taking a couple breaths here, now start to allow the arms to move around in space. And maybe you're finding that same pattern of the arms going overhead and then wide, or maybe you're making some different movements with the arms. They might be asymmetrical. Just allowing the arms to explore again a little bit of movement, the shoulders, feeling again now without the weights. And then eventually bringing the knees in towards the chest and circling the arms down to hold the tops of the shins or behind the back of the knees. And just taking a little squeeze of the thighs in towards you, creating a little bit of a stretch through the back of the hips. And if it's nice here to rock a little side to side, you're welcome to rock a little side to side. From here, we're going to move into a tabletop position. You can do that by rolling, rocking on your back, or you can roll to one side and come up and over, whichever one feels better for you. Once you're in that tabletop position, taking a breath just to allow yourself to line up here, spreading your fingerprints wide, stacking your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over top of your knees, and just checking in here too to see how the wrists are feeling, and if it to come up onto fists or to come up onto fingertips, you're welcome to bring the hands into a different position. Keeping the left hand firm on the mat underneath the shoulder, we're going to take the right arm up into a half cactus position. And if you look to your right arm, the elbow's coming straight out from the shoulder, your forearm and your hands are parallel to the floor. Just taking a couple breaths here, feeling the left hand in connection to the ground, stabilizing through the back of the left shoulder. Now, from this cactus position of the right arm, we're going to slide the hand back, bringing the arm back beside our side, palm facing up, thumbs in, pinky out. Left hand is still pressing down, shoulder trying to stabilize. And then with dropping the chest or dropping the rib cage, can you think of lifting the right arm up a little bit higher? Taking one more breath or so here, and then returning the right hand underneath the shoulder. Right hand stays where it is. Step your left hand in front of your right fingers, and then shift your hips back. And as your hips reach back in space, just creating a little bit of an opening through the left sideline of your body. Maybe feeling a little bit of a stretch around those armpit muscles that we're just doing a lot to stabilize and hold us in that shape. Taking another full breath in. Long breath out. And then inhaling, coming back up to tabletop. Left hand comes back underneath the shoulder, right hand underneath the shoulder. Once you feel stable on that right side, the left arm's going to come to that half cactus or goalpost position. And just checking again, you might look out, seeing that the elbow is roughly the same height as your shoulder. Your form is fairly parallel to the ground. Right hand or right fist, whatever you have underneath you, pressing down. Some stability around the back of the right shoulder. When you're ready, we slide beside the hip, lifting the hand up towards the ceiling. Noticing if the spine is still in a position, and then maybe lifting that left arm a little bit higher. Taking so, and then we'll place the left hand underneath the shoulder. Keep the left hand where it is. Right hand steps in front of the left fingers, and we shift the hips back. Taking a few breaths here, and you might even think of breathing into the right side of your rib cage to really help open up that right sideline. One more big breath in. Long breath out. And then inhale, come forward into that tabletop. Right hand comes underneath the shoulder. Now we're going to lower all the way down to the front of the body. From there, take your hands back, find those weights again, and we're going to bring the weights or the cans or the bottles into our palms, back of the hand towards the floor, thumb is in, pinky is out. From there, let your head just hover above the floor so there's still some space to breathe. And then keeping the back of your hands on the ground, think of lifting your outer shoulders up, drawing your shoulder blades a little together behind the back of your heart. Keep that opening through the front of your chest. And from there, when you're ready, an inhale will lift the arms up. And then exhale slowly with control. The arms come just down to lightly touch or hover. And we find this a few times. Arms lifting up and back down. Following your rhythm of breath. And seeing here if you can make the movement again fluid. Timing that rise of the arm for your whole inhale, slowing it down, and resisting gravity as you return the arms down again towards the ground. And then the next time your arms are up, we're going to pause there and hold. Little isometric hold here. Chest is still wide, shoulder blades are still drawing a little together towards one another on your back. And then from this hold, we're going to take the arms a little further out and then hug them in. They go a little out and a little in. And you might start to find that your arms are getting tired, your shoulders might be starting to burn a little bit here. Mine certainly are. And we'll find this a few more times, pulsing the arms in and out, trying to keep them lifted towards the ceiling for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the weights down. Take your hands, bring them forward. Rest the forehead now on the back of your hands just to really let the muscles in the neck release. Jaw might take a little wiggle side to side. And from there, when you're ready, sliding the hands back underneath the shoulders, lifting back up to tabletop. And then from there, take your right hand, find one of those weights, the one that was on the right side of your mat, stabilize through your left arm. And again, you could have the left hand in a fist, you could be on your fingertips, or you're flat on the palm of your hand. Once you feel stable on that left side, we're taking the right arm up with the weight into that half cactus position. Just checking here again, right elbow roughly in line with the shoulder, forearm and hand parallel to the floor. And we'll pause here for a couple breaths. Isometric hold here. And just feeling how the left hand pressing down can help to stabilize through your left shoulder. Chest is still facing the floor. We haven't rotated the chest to the right. And just noticing the change when we're holding a little bit of weight now, plus the weight of our arm, our body weight, against gravity. And then from this position, we take the arm back by the side, palm facing up, elbow straight. Left hand still pressing down, noticing if we've started to drop our front body towards the ground, keeping the back of the rib cage full, length between your sit bones and the crown of your head, and maybe that right arm lifts a little higher up for the last 3, 2, and 1. Take the right hand, release the weight, shift back. This time come up onto your fingerprints, stretching both sides of the body. Head could stay lifted. You could also let the weight of the head drop between the upper arms. Finding the breath maybe more in the sides and the back of the rib cage here. And then from here, when you're ready, coming back up into that tabletop position, right hand in whatever position underneath the shoulder, left hand takes the weight from the left side of your mat and brings the arm up into that cactus position. Checking it out again, if you're not sure where that left arm is landed, bringing it parallel to the floor, pressing down with the right hand, stabilizing through the right shoulder. Chest is not rotated here. Can you keep your rib cage full in the back? And can you keep your head in line with the spine? Notice if your face has collapsed a little towards the floor. And remember, at any point you could do these movements without the weights. With your next breath, that left arm will slide back beside your body, palm up, holding your weight. Maybe the arm lifts a little higher for the last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the weight down. From here, sliding the hips back again. Walk your fingertips a little further forward. Get even longer through the sides of your body. Head stays up or drop the weight of your head down. Taking another full breath in. And a long, clearing breath out. And then And from there, coming back up into that tabletop position, this time curl your toes under, let your hips lift up and back into downward facing dog. And then in this downward dog, find a little softness in the knees, let the heels lift a little from the floor. And can you now think of really using the hands, pressing them forward and down? And maybe noticing again those muscles in the arms, around the armpits, the shoulders, and how they can start to create a little bit of stability here in downward dog. And then pressing down a little bit more with the left hand, get a little lighter on the right, maybe coming up onto your right fingertips. And just like when we're in that tabletop position, can you think of not rotating your chest? Now, if this all feels okay, that left side feels pretty stable, maybe the right arm lifts up and it comes up beside your body with the palm facing up. Notice again, has the chest rotated? And then from there, the right hand can come back into downward dog. We'll step the right foot forward, letting the left knee come down to a low lunge. From here, let your arms lift up. And then as we exhale, we're going to rotate the chest and cactus both arms. Inhale, we come back to center, arms reach up. And then exhale, we rotate and cactus. Again, inhale to center. And exhale to cactus. And then this time as you inhale, come to center. And as you exhale, find those weights. Take one in each hand, bring them in front of your shoulders, palms facing forward. We'll use an inhale when it comes, arms lift up, and then exhale, cactus as you rotate. Inhale, arms press up, palms facing forward. Exhale, rotate, cactus wide. Inhale up, and exhale, pull the arms down. One more time, inhale, push the arms up. Exhale, pull your elbows down, resist gravity. This time we'll inhale, take the arms up, and exhale, return the weights down on either side of your mat. Hands come down, stepping back to downward dog. Taking a breath in downward dog, finding both hands pressing forward and down, outer hips lifting up and back. And now on this side, really think of the right hand pressing more firmly forward and down, and maybe lift the heel of your left hand up, coming onto the fingertips. Again, you could pause here. Maybe if you can lift the left hand without too much changing in the rest of the body, we take the left arm up by the side. Right hand pressing forward and down, so there's still an energetic reach of both hips up and back in the opposite direction. Taking another breath or so. And then when you're ready, left hand comes back down, downward dog. Left foot comes forward, right knee comes down. Sweep the arms up as you breathe in. And then exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale to center. And exhale, rotate around, just allowing the body to find the movement, feeling the rotation, feeling the pull of the elbows down and wide as you turn. The next time you inhale to center, we'll reach down, option to grab the weights, coming back up. And with your inhale, take your arms with the weights overhead, and exhale, pull your arms down as you twist. Inhale, push the arms up, and exhale, pull as you wrap your ribs around. 2 more times, following your breath. And again, could you think of slowing the movement? Maybe making it a little bit more fluid, resisting gravity, slowly bringing the arms wide. And then the next time you're facing forward, arms can come down, releasing the weights down by your side. Hands come down. We step back to downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths, let both hands now press forward and down, and feel the difference now with both hands, both shoulders, creating stability. Can you think of really lengthening your outer hips up and back? Can you find some fullness in the back of your ribs? And can you keep your head in line with the rest of your spine? Taking another full breath in. And a long breath out. And then from here, we're going to use an inhale to step the right foot forward. From there, we're going to take the torso up so it comes about halfway up. Torso roughly in line with your back thigh. And from there, we're going to take the arms into that wide T position. And now when your exhale comes, we'll rotate to the right. Inhale to center. And exhale again, we rotate to the right. And it's the same pattern we just had in the lunge, that rotation. But now we've got a different relationship to gravity. There's some more muscles involved in the back of your body, in your trunk, having to find this movement against gravity or with gravity in a different position. And then option here, the next time you might grab your weights, and with your weights, find the same pattern. And it's going to feel a little bit different if you've grabbed the weights. You might start to feel some muscles in the back a little bit differently, some muscles in the shoulder a little bit differently. You might also notice that with the lever, the weights at the end of the long levers of our arms, there's a little bit more work that's created in your obliques to rotate. And try about one more or so. And then from there, releasing the weights down. This time we'll step to plank pose and then lower all the way down to the front of the body. Now in this position, we'll take the arms into that cactus shape. Tops of the feet can come to the floor. Let your pubic bone get nice and heavy. Find that direction again of your sit bones towards the back of your knees. And from here again, let your head just hover away from the floor. Now, keeping the feet pressing down, the pubic bone pressing down, there's a sense of activation in the lower half of the body. We're going to start to lift the arms away from the floor, drawing the shoulder blades together on the back, and then let your forearms come back down again to touch. Finding this a few times, shoulder blades pulling together, lifting the weight of the arms, and then lower down. Tops of the feet still pressing down, groin still pressing down. And then the next time your arms lift up, this time we'll pull the hands back underneath the shoulders. Hands and knees press us through tabletop. Curl your toes, glide your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths in downward dog, hands pressing forward and down, ears in line with the upper arms. Taking another breath or so. And then when you're ready, the left foot's going to come forward. And from here, we'll find that diagonal position again. And then the arms go into that wide T shape. When your exhale comes, use the exhale to rotate to the left. And inhale will come back to center. And I've got a door in my way, so my movement's going to be a little bit more limited. And just noticing without the weights at first, how it feels. And it might feel different rotating to this side. And then the next time you come to center, option to grab the weights, arms go wide, and we rotate. And you just see how it feels with the weight. Maintaining a little bit of a press back through the right heel, muscles in the right thigh, hugging to the bone. Finding about 2 or so more rotations. And then from there, releasing your weights a little further towards the top corners of your mat, stepping back to plank pose, and then lowering down. Now, taking the weights and bringing them so they're underneath the palms of the hands, lining up again into that cactus position, elbows coming straight out from the shoulders. Tops of the feet connecting down to the mat, pubic bone connecting down to the mat, finding that hover of the head that allows some spaciousness for breath. And then from here, when you're ready, holding on to the weights, we'll lift the arms up, shoulder blades come together on the back, and then we'll lower down. And we'll do this a few times. And you might observe, depending on the weight of your weights, that this movement, even though it's fairly small, it can get intense fairly quickly. So if at any point you want to do this movement just with the body weight of the arms, you're welcome to. The next time the arms come up, we're going to try and hold. You might be doing this with the weights or not. If you are holding here with me, just checking, seeing that your forearms are parallel to the floor, elbows in line with the shoulders. Doing your best here, breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the weight, release the arms, release the forehead. You can always use the hands to make a little pillow. Letting the belly get really heavy, letting the chest get really heavy. If it feels nice to take a little shimmy or shake of the shoulders, taking a little shimmy or shake. And then from there, hands can come underneath the shoulders, pressing from tabletop, curling the toes to downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths in downward dog, finding any little movements that might feel nice, maybe a little pedal of the feet or a little shake of the head. And then from there, when you're ready, gaze can come a little bit forward. We'll start to walk our feet towards our hands. And once your feet have come forward underneath the hips, find a little bit of a forward fold, feet about hip distance or a little bit wider than that. Shoulders can be heavy here, maybe using gravity now to soften the ears a little, or the shoulders a little towards the ears. And then from here, when you're ready, sliding the hands up the leg bones, taking an inhale to find our halfway up position. Now, from this halfway up position, find a little soft bend in the knees, and then start to take your arms beside your side, that same position with the palms facing up. And can you think here of finding a fairly neutral spine, meaning that there's still some fullness in the back of your rib cage, your head is in line with the rest of your spine, it's not collapsing towards the floor. And then from this position, we're going to think of lifting our arms up without changing too much else in our spine. Pausing here for a little isometric hold. And then from this position, now we're going to come into that cactus arm position. Arms coming forward, elbows straight out from the shoulders, forearms roughly parallel to the floor. And in this position, different relationship to gravity again, maybe finding more of the back muscles engaged, holding us in this halfway up position. And can you think now of really squeezing the shoulder blades together, just like we just did when we were laying on the front body? Pausing there for another breath or so. And then releasing everything down, bigger bend in the knee, hang in that forward fold again. And if a little movement here would be nice, take a little movement. We're going to come up into that halfway up position again. Option to do it this time with the weights. If you're holding on to the weights, then slide again with the weights, hands halfway up. Find that softness in the knee, bringing the weight of the body really over the center of the foot. Notice if you're really gripping your toes or if you're really sliding the hips far back behind your ankles, and come to the center of the foot. And then from there, line up your spine again, head reaching away from your sitting bones, fullness in the back of the ribs. And then from there, when you're ready, arms can come up beside you, palms facing up. A little bit of an isometric hold here. Collarbones fairly wide. And then just like we did when we first started, option here, arms could go a little wider and then hug a little in. Maybe they go a little wider and hug a little in. Or you keep the arms still in that hold, you decide. A breath or so there. And then from there, we come into that cactus position with the arms. And again, you might check out here, forearms in line with your shoulders. And then just noticing, for me, this is feeling a lot more intense on the bottom insides of my shoulder blades. It's much harder to keep my forearms parallel to the floor. And I'm really feeling the muscles of my back. Holding and breathing for another 3, 2, 1. Releasing down, letting go of the weights. And if there's nice movements in that forward bend, you might take them. You might hang heavy in stillness. And then from here, as you're ready, finding a big enough bend in the knees so you can plant your palms, and then walking the feet back into downward dog. Taking another breath or so in downward dog. And then from there, we'll soften the knees down to the mat. Shifting the hips back towards a child's pose, we'll start to walk the hands off of the left side of the mat. Taking a little bit more of a stretch through the right side. Head could stay up. You could also drop the head down, maybe making a fist or resting a forehead on the back of the left hand. Right fingertips might even start to crawl a little further away from you, really opening up that right side armpit line. Taking another full breath in. Clearing breath out. And then from there, coming back through center, walking the hands off the right side. Maybe making a fist or back of the right hand, a little pillow for the forehead, or you can keep the head lifted if that feels better. Sending the breath into the spaces between the left side ribs. Taking another full breath in. Long breath out. And then from there, coming back to center. Now from here, we'll come into that tabletop position again. Now, options is you can stay in this tabletop position. We'll find again the arm coming into the cactus and then back beside the body. If the work of stabilizing the trunk is feeling okay, then you might also take your legs back and try this in a plank position. If you're coming into the plank position, I'll recommend bringing the feet a little wider than hip distance apart to create a wider base of support on the bottom. From that plank or from that tabletop, the right hand grabs the weight. We bring it into that cactus position. Left hand is pressing down. Again, you could be on the fist. Taking a few breaths in that cactus position. And then the arm slides back beside the body. Arm facing up. Back of the rib cage stays full, head in line with the spine. For 3, 2, 1. Releasing the weight. Right hand comes down. If you're in plank pose, take the knees down. Shifting the hips back. Coming up onto your fingertips. Crawling the fingers forward. Weight of the head might drop. Taking another full breath in. Long breath out. And coming back into that tabletop position, deciding if you're staying here or if you're taking the legs back to that wide-footed plank. Right hand stabilizes down, left hand takes the weight, maybe, or you could also use just the weight of your arms. Seeing if the forearm is parallel to the floor. And certainly if you're in plank, very challenging to keep the chest and the hips facing the floor. Doing your best, head in line with the spine. And then the arm comes back beside the side, palm facing up. Holding for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the weight. Hips go up and back into downward dog. And from there, we'll walk the hands back towards the feet, hanging in a forward bend. If it's nice to give the head a little shake or the wrists a little circle around, you might do that. Shoulders could take a little shimmy here. And then from here, as you're ready, hands can start to walk forward again. Knees can soften down to the mat. From there, walking the hands back towards the shins, sitting on your legs, swinging them out in front. And from here, sliding your weights back so they come on either side of your hips. Knees stay bent. Feet come about hip distance apart with the toes facing forward. From here, holding on to the backs of your thighs, take a breath in and get a little bit taller, reaching your armpits away from your hips. And then as you exhale, we're going to think of coming a little bit back, tail, sit bones scooching a little forward so that we start to find the weight a little bit more towards the sacrum. And then from there, can you think of getting a little lighter with your hands on the back of your legs? And without letting yourself drop to gravity, start to release your arms. And then from there, when you take an inhale, arms go into that T position. And as they exhale, they come back. As you inhale, arms go overhead. And exhale, they release back down. You've got the pattern. Inhale, the arms go wide. Exhale, they come back. Inhale overhead. And exhale down. Find that 2 more rounds, wide and then overhead. Again, following your rhythm of breath. Feet connected to the floor. And just noticing how your trunk responds to the movement. And the next time your arms come down, hold the back of your legs, elbows go wide, folding down between your legs. And the arms can either drop by your sides, you can also bring them to rest over top of your shins. Head can hang, you might take a little turn of the head, a little movement of the tongue around the mouth. And then from there, as you're ready, we'll come back up. Option now to bring your weights with you or not. So you'll see how it goes, and you can always drop your weights if you like. Finding again the armpits reaching tall, and then exhale a little halfway roll back. Sit bone scooching a little towards the feet. And then from there, from that halfway position, we'll use an inhale, the arms go into that wide T, and exhale, they come back to center. Inhale overhead, and exhale back down. And here's our pattern. Now we have a little bit more weight, maybe. And just noticing as the arms go into this different position, how does the rest of your body respond? How does your trunk respond? How do your thighs want to respond? Do your feet get light? Let's find one or so more rounds, taking them wide and then to that overhead position. And then from there, releasing the weights, coming back to fold again over the legs. Taking a couple more breaths here, really filling in the back of the rib cage. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back up to sit tall. One more option with weights or not, and then we're coming down onto our backs. So it's taking again a breath to get a little bit taller on your sit bones, and then as you exhale, finding that scooch of the tail, scooch of the sit bones forward, coming into a little half rolled back position. Now from there, we're going to inhale, take the arms into that wide kind of T shape, but find a little bit of looseness in your elbows, a little bit of looseness in your wrists, but we're holding the arms almost as if you're about to give a big bear hug to someone. Now, finding again that little bit of an edge where you're in this half roll back and you start to really feel gravity challenge your trunk to hold you here. And I'm sort of right on the edge of where my body wants to start to tremble a little bit. So I can sustain it, but it's definitely some work. Now from there, we're going to hold this position in the upper body. When you're ready, an inhale will lift the right knee up a little bit towards us, and then exhale slowly with control. The right foot comes back down. Inhale, the left foot lifts, and exhale back down. And remember, at any point, you could drop the weights. We're going to keep walking the feet with control, and as best you can, not letting too much else change in your upper body. So your hips are pretty stable on the floor. Your trunk isn't moving too much as you walk the legs. Find one more on the right and one more on the left, and then we're going to be adding on. So the next time your right knee lifts, hold it up. Exhale, rotate your trunk a little to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, right foot down. Inhale, left knee comes up. Exhale, rotate a little to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, left foot down. We're going to do that one more time each side. Inhale, right knee up. Exhale, rotate. Inhale to center. And exhale, right foot down. One more time. Inhale, left knee. Exhale, rotate. Inhale to center. Exhale, left foot down. Weights come down. Arms by your side. Maybe feeling quite a bit lighter if you were holding weights that full time. And from here, we're going to try and resist gravity and slowly come down onto our back. Vertebrae by vertebrae. If it's helpful to hold the back of your legs, you can hold the back of your legs. And once the rib cage is connected to the ground, releasing the shoulders, releasing the head, releasing the arms. Taking a few rounds of breath and really thinking about softening the muscles in the trunk. And then from here, as you're ready, knees are still bent. We'll take a few windshield wipers of the knees side to side. And as you do that, just sort of notice how that might feel in the hip joint as your thighs rotate. And notice how that might feel on the sides of your body. And then the next time your knees are dropped to the left, keep them dropped to the left. Arms can stretch overhead, holding on to the right wrist with the left hand. Maybe using the left hand to draw a little bit on that right arm. Taking a few rounds of breath into the right side ribs, and you might take the option of bringing the left foot onto the outer right knee, or you might just let the right inner knee get a little heavier. Taking another breath or so here. And then releasing the right knee, releasing the right wrist, bringing the legs back up and then letting them drop over to the right. Right hand holds on to the left wrist, maybe draws a little on that arm. Left inner knee getting heavy, or maybe the right foot hooks outside the left knee. Taking another breath or so here. And then from there, releasing, bringing the knees back up to center. From there, let the knees come in a little bit towards you, taking the legs up to vertical, arms come up to vertical. I'm finding again that bit of softness in the elbows, softness in the wrists. I'm finding that in the knees and the ankles. I'm just kind of letting the limbs explore the air, finding that little bit of movement. And then from there, let the knees bend in towards you. Hands again to the shins or backs of the thighs, taking that little squeeze in. If it's nice to rock side to side or bring the forehead up towards the knees, you might do that. And then from there, letting the feet come back down, and you might let the heels go a little bit wider than your toes turning in, letting inner knees knock in. You could also take the soles of the feet together, knees could go wide, or if you prefer a Shavasana style position, you could also extend the legs long. Just finding a shape that allows your body to feel relatively comfortable so that we can release tension and to begin finding some softness in the muscles of the body. Noticing if there's any spots that are gripping a little bit, toes, the legs, the belly. Letting gravity have a little bit more of you. And then letting your attention go a little bit more internal. And just noticing the soft, natural flow of your breath. And it's subtle, but there's this slight feeling of lengthening in the abdomen as you breathe in. And this return to center as you breathe out. And for the next moment or so, just allowing your attention to stay lightly hovered on that soft movement of your breath and its potential to give you a little gentle massage. And if your attention has been caught elsewhere, just gently bringing it back to your breath. Feeling a few more soft rounds in and out. And then slowly, intentionally beginning to deepen your breath. And as the breath continues to be a little fuller and it explores more areas inside your body, eventually using that expansive energy to start to create little movements again in your body. Feeling free to take your time, to be slow. Maybe eventually taking a little stretch from fingertips to toes. And then rolling on to one side and pausing there for a breath or two. When your head feels ready to come up, coming back up to find a comfortable seat. Legs in whatever position feels comfortable. From there, hands can find the legs, and when your inhale comes, getting a little taller in your seat. With your exhale, joining the hands in front of the heart. With your inhale, breathing the heart up into the hands, and with your exhale, nodding the chin down to the chest. The place in the center of me bows to the place in the center of you. Thank you for moving with me. Enjoy the rest of your day.